Welcome to the Stone Age. The illusion of toughness dies first. The modern human loves to fantasize about survival. You've watched the shows. You've liked the clips. Maybe you've even told yourself, I could do it. Just give me a knife and a fire starter. I'd figure it out. But you weren't given anything, and reality is already stripping away every ounce of confidence you had. You stumble through the underbrush, shivering, your feet sliced open by roots and thorns. Your skin is crawling, not just from the cold, but from insects you can't even see. You're not hunting. You're not building. You're just walking, aimlessly, trying to get your bearings, and already, your body is burning calories it can't replace. The air smells ancient, full of decay. It's not the sanitized, curated wilderness of a national park. This is raw land, untouched and indifferent, a place where every creature is fighting to survive, and you lay dead last on the food chain. You notice it in the birds, the silence when they stop singing, the way everything freezes when you move. You don't belong or your stomach is starting to gnaw at itself. The hunger isn't dramatic yet, but it's coming, and you don't even know where the closest stream is, let alone how to purify the water. Without getting sick, you find a few berries. They look like the kind you've seen in cartoons. But here's the truth. If you're wrong, you die. No emergency room, no EpiPen, just you, doubled over in agony, vomiting into the dirt while some predator sniffs you out like wounded prey. You sit down to think, but the ground is damp and your hands are shaking. The sun is sinking fast. And here's the cold, hard truth. You haven't accomplished anything yet. You haven't eaten. You haven't found shelter. You haven't even lit a fire. And you're already exhausted. You are not built for this. Welcome to the Stone Age. The illusion of toughness dies first. The modern human loves to fantasize about survival. You've watched the shows. You've liked the clips. Maybe you've even told yourself, I could do it. Just give me a knife and a fire starter. I'd figure it out. But you weren't given anything, and reality is already stripping away every ounce of confidence you had. You stumble through the underbrush, shivering, your feet sliced open by roots and thorns. Your skin is crawling, not just from the cold, but from insects you can't even see. You're not hunting. You're not building. A place where every creature is fighting to survive, and you lay dead last. On the food chain, you're just walking, aimlessly, trying to get your bearings, and already, your body is burning calories it can't replace. The air smells ancient, full of decay, and you don't even know where the closest stream is, let alone how to purify the water. Without getting sick, it's not the sanitized, curated wilderness of a national park. This is raw land, untouched and indifferent. You notice it in the birds, the silence when they stop singing, the way everything freezes when you move. You don't belong or your stomach is starting to gnaw at itself. The hunger isn't dramatic yet, but it's coming. You find a few berries. They look like the kind you've seen in cartoons. But here's the truth. If you're wrong, you die. No emergency room, no EpiPen, just you, doubled over in agony, vomiting into the dirt while some predator sniffs you out like wounded prey. You sit down to think, but the ground is damp and your hands are shaking. The sun is sinking fast. And here's the cold, hard truth. You haven't accomplished anything yet. You haven't eaten. You haven't found shelter. You haven't even lit a fire. And you're already exhausted. You are not built for this. Welcome to the Stone Age. When night falls, you beg for morning. The sun dips behind the jagged trees like it's trying to hide from what comes next. And now, the real test begins. You feel at first the temperature drop. No warnings, no gradual cool down, just a slap of icy air against your wet skin. The animal hide wrapped around your shoulders offers barely any warmth. There's no insulation, no stitching, just something your ancestors once tore off a carcass in desperation. Your fingers are stiff, your breath fogs, and the shadows are moving. Every rustle, every snap of a twig sends your heart into overdrive. Is it wind? Is it a predator? You don't know. You never had to know, because in your world, fear was entertainment. Now, it's instructional. You find a small overhang, not a cave, just a hollow in the rock. You curl up inside, shivering violently. No fire, no protection, just a hope that you won't be discovered. Close. You hear howls, not distant ones. Wolves, maybe, or worse, packs of wild dogs, starving and desperate. And here's the part that hurts the most. You don't even have a weapon. Everything feels like a threat. Even your own body is betraying you. You look around for something, a stick, a stone, but your hands are numb, your vision blurry. Sleep won't come, not when every instinct is screaming that you might not wake up. You close your eyes, but your ears stay open, alert, hyperactive. You're not resting, you're enduring. By now, the fantasy is dead, the ego is gone, and all that remains is the truth. You are painfully unequipped to survive this. Not because you ray weak, but because the modern world trained you to forget what real survival demands. And in the Stone Age, forgetting means extinction. The clock hasn't even hit 12 hours, and already you're praying for it to end. But tomorrow will be worse. Food, fire, and fear. The hunger hits harder than the cold morning arrives, if you can call it that. There's no alarm clock, no gentle sunrise through window blinds, just a faint shift in light and the distant calls of creatures already hunting. You didn't sleep, you endured, curled up in a rock crevice, trembling through the night like prey, because that's what you are out here. And now, you're hungry, not the kind of hunger you fix with snacks. This is deep, primal starvation. Your stomach feels like it's caving in on itself, your mouth dry like sandpaper. Every movement aches, your body is begging for fuel. In a modern world, food is everywhere. A tap, a swipe, a delivery app. You eat because you're bored, stressed, entertained. But here, food is survival, food is power, food is life. And right now, you have none. You stumble into the forest, trying to think like a hunter. You remember something about edible plants, nuts, maybe mushrooms, but knowledge is fragile when fear is loud. You see some berries again, dark, plump, and suspiciously perfect. But without modern testing, a single wrong bite can shut down your organs. It's Russian roulette with fruit. Then you see movement. A rabbit, quick, alert, gone in a blink before you even react. You have no traps, no weapons, no energy. You are a predator by ancestry, but right now, you are nothing but a liability to the food chain. And that's when the fear creeps in, not of animals, but of the slow burn of starvation. You start to realize how quickly the body fails without fuel. Your legs are heavy. Your brain feels fogged. Your hands shake when you reach for anything. You're not just uncomfortable anymore. You're becoming incapacitated. Out here, that means death, slow and ugly. You think about the cavemen, how they did this every day. They didn't eat because they were hungry. They hunted because if they didn't, they'd be dead by nightfall. And you haven't even started a fire yet. Food, fire, and fear. Fire wasn't a discovery. It was a miracle. Your stomach groans, hollow and desperate. But hunger is only half the war, because without fire you're dead anyway. You might think you know how to make fire. You've seen it on YouTube, rubbing sticks, striking rocks, maybe even using a bow drill. Seems doable, until you're actually here. Your hands are frozen. Your muscles are weak. You've been awake for almost 30 hours, running on panic and fumes. And now you're crouched in the dirt, desperately grinding a stick into a dry piece of bark. Smoke curls up. Your heart leaps, but then, nothing. The ember dies. You try again and again and again. Minutes turn to hours. Your palms are bleeding. Your arms are jelly. The stick is warped, frayed, useless. You start to feel the hopelessness that ancient humans knew intimately. Without fire, you don't eat. You don't stay warm. You don't survive. Because fire is more than heat, it's security. It's the line between life and death in a world that wants you gone. Without it, you can't cook. Raw meat means disease. Without it, you can't boil water. Stream water means parasites, vomiting, and a slow death from dehydration. Without it, you can't signal. You can't protect. You can't even sleep without the fear of something creeping in close while you rest. The caveman didn't stumble on fire and go cool. They worshipped it. They feared losing it. They passed the knowledge down like a sacred code, because without it, there was nothing. And you can't even make a spark. You scream, not out of anger, but frustration, desperation. You give anything, literally anything, for a lighter right now. One flick, one flame, one chance to shift the balance. But out here, there are no shortcuts, only suffering, and the wild is watching, waiting to see how long until you break. Food, fire, and fear. Fear sharpens, then shatters you. You're not cold anymore. You're numb, physically and emotionally. You gave up on fire hours ago. The sticks are broken. Your hands look like raw meat. The hunger has mutated. It's not a pang anymore. It's a deep, dizzying weakness that pulls at your vision and turns your legs to sand. You collapse beside a log, too tired to cry, too drained to panic. That's when you hear it. Footsteps, crunching leaves. Not your own. You freeze. It's not loud. It's deliberate, measured. Something is moving just beyond the tree line. You hold your breath. You scan the brush, heart pounding against your ribs like a war drum. Your eyes lock onto a silhouette, low to the ground, eyes glowing. A predator. Maybe a big cat. Maybe a wolf. Maybe something worse. Whatever it is, it's not curious. It's calculating. You're not a threat. You're a snack. In that moment, you realize something terrifying. You don't even know how to defend yourself. You pick up a branch. It's flimsy, wet, useless. Your body wants to run, but you don't know where. Your brain says fight, but you have nothing to fight with. This isn't fear like you've known before. It's primal. The kind of fear that lived in your ancestors' bones. The kind that whispered, if you make one wrong move, you die. Eventually, the creature vanishes, or maybe it just loses interest in something so pathetic, so unfit to survive. You don't feel relief. You feel humiliation. You thought you were tough. You thought survival was about grit and willpower. But now you know the truth. Fear isn't just emotional. It's physical. It steals your breath, weakens your limbs, paralyzes your logic, and the wild feeds on that. You slump against the log, heart still racing, your body's breaking, your mind's unraveling, and your 24 hours, they're barely halfway through. Nature is not your friend. The wilderness isn't broken. It hits you like a slow realization. This place, this wild, untamed, merciless place, it's not malfunctioning. It's not chaos. It's not wrong. It's perfect. Every tree, every root, every predator, they belong here. They're in rhythm. They've evolved, adapted, sharpened across millennia to survive in this exact brutality. You're the mistake. You thought nature was peaceful, serene. You imagined open meadows, birdsong, and gentle rivers. You thought it might be tough, sure, but conquerable, maybe even beautiful. But that's because you've only ever seen nature through glass, a window, a screen, a windshield on a road trip. You've never stood still in it and realized nature doesn't care about you. There's no mercy in the wind that cuts through your hide, no sympathy in the insects that feast on your open skin, no pause from the rain that falls, cold and relentless, soaking your bones and blurring your sight. And the animals? They're not magical. They're not majestic. They're machines. Every single one of them more prepared, more aware, more fit to live here than you. A bird spots a worm from 10 meters in the air. A fox hears a beetle move under the snow. A bear can smell a carcass from over a mile away. And you can't even find clean water. You've spent your whole life insulated from reality, behind locks, behind walls, behind systems designed to keep the raw forces of nature out. Now you're here, and you realize this place isn't cruel. It's not evil. It's just real. It has no use for comfort, no interest in fairness, no concept of justice. It only has rules: adapt, evolve, harden, survive. And if you can't, you don't get a second chance. Nature is not your friend. You are not the apex predator anymore you like to think. You're top of the food chain, smartest species on Earth. Billions of brains, cities, satellites. You build skyscrapers and launch rockets. But here, in this savage, ancient wilderness, you are meat. You hear it again, the low snap of branches behind you, not wind, not your imagination. Something is tracking you. You freeze, try to listen. Your ears ring from stress. Your body goes still, not out of strategy, but fear. It could be a predator, could be many. Here, you're not the hunter. You're prey who forgot the rules. Out here, apex predators don't just rely on brute force. They use silence, patience, and instinct. The big cat that stalks you, it doesn't roar, it doesn't chase. It waits, hours if it needs to, for one misstep, one vulnerable moment. Because out here, wasting energy is a death sentence. Even they can't afford mistakes. Meanwhile, you've burned thousands of calories doing nothing. You've been wandering, panicking, failing to secure food, water, or fire, while everything around you survives by doing less. Better, you look down and realize your hands are shaking again. You've been so focused on staying alive, you didn't realize how close death already is. The predators don't see you as a threat. They don't fear your mind, your tech, your evolution. They just see a weak, slow-moving creature leaking scent, limping through their territory, and they're waiting for your defenses to collapse. The arrogance of modern man fades quickly when your heartbeat is the loudest sound in your head. This isn't TV. There's no drone above you, no one coming, no narrator to step in. There is only nature. And nature doesn't grant forgiveness. It doesn't care if you're scared. It doesn't pause if you're lost. It devours. Nature is not your friend weather that wants you dead. It starts with a whisper, a breeze slipping through the trees, harmless at first. Then the sky shifts. The clouds churn like boiling ink. The air grows heavier, thicker, Something is coming, something ancient. A storm not the kind you've seen from inside a house, not the romantic kind you post stories about. This one's a predator in its own right. In minutes, the forest transforms into a trap. Rain explodes from the sky, not drizzle, but sheets. The ground turns to mud, your footing vanishes. Your shelter, gone. That little rocky overhang you curled under before, it's flooded now. You're soaked, shivering. Your high cloak sticks to your skin like wet paper. You try to move, but every step is a battle against sucking mud and pounding wind. Lightning forks across the sky, so close it stuns you. The thunder, it doesn't rumble, it detonates. And with each crash, the animals scatter, and your heart almost stops. You find a fallen tree to crawl under. It's not shelter, it's just slightly less exposure. The storm doesn't care. It has no agenda, no target, but it will kill you all the same. Hypothermia doesn't take hours. Out here, drenched and wine-lashed, your core temperature can drop in minutes. You start to feel sleepy. That seductive kind of tiredness that creeps in when your body is giving up. That's how people die in the cold. They stop feeling cold. They start feeling numb, then nothing at all. And as the storm rages above you, you realize something every ancient human understood deeply. Nature doesn't have moods. It has consequences. You don't get to ask it for mercy. You don't get to wait it out like a delay on a train. You adapt, or it wipes you out without blinking. And this was just one afternoon's change in weather. Tomorrow could bring snow, floods, fire, drought. There's no good weather in the wild. Only survivable and fatal. Tribe or die, the loneliest death is a solo one. You've lasted this long. Barely. You're starving, exhausted, soaked, and shaken. But now you face the one thing your body can't adapt to: isolation. Out here, alone means vulnerable, and vulnerable means dead. You stumble into a clearing, and then you see them, a group, a real, living tribe, rugged, primitive, barefoot and strong. Men with hardened faces, women with piercing eyes, children silent but alert. They see you, and they stop. No words, just stares. And you realize something fast. You don't know the rules. You take a step forward, bad move. A man steps in front, gripping a spear longer than your arm. His eyes lock onto yours, not with curiosity, but with judgment. To them, you're an outsider, a threat and unknown. Because in this world, trust is earned, not assumed. And right now, you're just a confused, weak figure in torn hides and wild eyes. No skills, no offering, no blood ties. In your world, being alone might mean boredom. Out here, it's a death sentence, because cavemen didn't survive alone. They survived together, tightly, fiercely, with loyalty forged in fire and desperation. Every member of the tribe served a purpose. You don't have one. You don't hunt. You don't build. You can't even light a fire. So what do you offer? A burden, a distraction, a danger? You try to speak, maybe to explain, but they don't understand your words. And even if they did, words don't matter here. Deeds do. You step back, slowly, hands up, eyes low. They let you, this time, because mercy isn't a policy out here. It's a decision, and you just got lucky. They didn't see you as worth killing, yet, but you can feel it now, deep in your bones. If you don't find a way to belong, you'll die with no one to bury you. Tribe or die, they don't care about your past, only your usefulness. You watch them from the tree line. The tribe moves like a single organism, coordinated, instinctive, purposeful. One sharpens a stone tool, another skins a kill. A child grinds roots beside a woman weaving something out of bone and fiber. No one is idle. No one is confused. No one looks lost. You realize something painful. You don't belong here because you're not needed. And in a world where survival is shared, uselessness is lethal. You think back to your world. What were you good at? Marketing, coding, TikTok transitions? None of it matters here. You're not funny, not clever. You're dead weight. In tribal life, everyone pulled. Everyone had a role. If you didn't contribute, if you ate without hunting, drank without gathering, took without giving, you were exiled. Or worse, eliminated. Because one weak link could mean the difference between survival and extinction for all of them. Out here, loyalty wasn't emotional, it was strategic. You didn't get invited into the tribe because you were friendly. You earned your place by being valuable, by protecting, providing, producing. That's why ancient humans developed language, not for poetry or small talk, but to coordinate action, to warn of danger, to pass on tactics, to teach the next generation how not to die. Their trust wasn't handed out. It was tested. It was bled for. And right now, if you walk back into that camp empty-handed, wide-eyed, and trembling, you'd be a liability. And out here, liabilities are corrected. You're not just fighting to survive nature anymore. You're fighting to earn a place in the only thing that ever really gave your ancestors a chance. The tribe without it, you're nothing. With it, you might be something. But don't be fooled, they won't save you. They'll measure you. And only if you pass, do you stay. Tribe or die, you don't join a tribe. You earn the right to stay, you make the decision. You're going back, not because you're confident, not because you're ready, but because you now understand. If you stay alone, the wild will eat you alive. You emerge from the trees slowly. This time, you don't speak, you don't gesture, you just kneel, head down, empty hands open, not in submission, but in humility. You're not here to take, you're here to prove. They watch silent, no emotion, just eyes that have seen too much to be impressed easily. One of them, the same man with the spear, steps forward. He doesn't offer kindness, he offers a test. He tosses you a bone, literally. A long, raw femur stripped of meat. He points to a rock, then mimics smashing. He wants you to break it, to get the marrow, not just for food, but as a demonstration. Can you learn? Can you work? Can you follow? You grip the bone with trembling hands, raise it over the stone, and slam. The first hit bounces. Laughter, low and sharp, ripples through the group. You grit your teeth, slam again, crack a split, a glimmer of marrow inside. You keep going, eyes locked, breathing hard. When the bone finally breaks open, you scoop out the soft tissue and hand it to the man. He doesn't eat it. He watches you eat it. And when you do, ignoring the taste, the texture, the modern disgust climb at your throat, he nods once. No applause, no welcome, but they let you stay. Near the fire, on the edge, watching, learning. And for now, that's everything. Because here, acceptance isn't verbal, it's survival by contribution. And if you can't adapt, keep up, pull your weight, you won't be exiled. You'll just disappear, silently, permanently. The tribe doesn't care who you were, only what you do. Evolution built you soft, the hardest species in history. With you look around the fire, faces hardened by wind, hunger, and fear. Hands scarred from years of hunting, cutting, scraping, feet like leather, eyes that never blink at pain. You see what you used to be, or rather, what your ancestors once were. Because somewhere deep in your DNA, this is you, or at least, it was. These weren't superheroes, they weren't monsters, they were human, just like you. But they were built from a different mold, a mold cast in blood, ice, ash, and raw necessity. Everything about them was earned. Their strength, their instincts, their unity, their fire. They weren't driven by convenience. They were driven by one thing only, survival. And the brutal truth, they made you. But you couldn't last one day in their world. You're a product of evolution, but also of insulation. Over thousands of years, humans got smarter, safer, softer, not because we're lazy, but because we won. We made tools so we didn't need calluses. We made homes so we didn't need fur. We built systems so we didn't need memory. We advanced and forgot why we started. You live in climate control, eat from packages, swipe for mates, stream your wars and order your comforts. Your ancestors, they fought tooth and nail for every second of life. And the wild, this cruel, unforgiving world, was the test they had to pass every single day. Their minds were relentless, focused, tuned. Every noise meant something. Every scent, every track, every shadow. They didn't have time for anxiety. They didn't have space for doubt. There was no therapist, no scroll break, no opt-out button. There was only this question: can I survive one more day? You didn't come from weakness. You came from warriors. But now, face to face with the world they conquered, you finally understand what they had to become just to live, and what you become by forgetting. Evolution built you soft. You inherited their DNA, not their fire. You sit by the fire they built. You didn't start it. You didn't gather the wood, but you're close enough to feel the heat, and for a moment, that feels like victory. But it isn't. It is borrowed survival, and it won't last unless you change. Because here's the hardest truth to swallow. You carry the same body they had, the same bones, same muscles, same instincts buried under layers of comfort. But they trained those instincts like a blade, and you dulled them. They had to move silently through darkness. You leave your AirPods in when walking at night. They had to feel when weather changed, when prey shifted, when the scent of death floated on the wind. You check a weather app and still complain when it rains. Their fear kept them alive. Yours keeps you inside. You're not broken. You're disconnected. And disconnection is just delayed collapse. You were born into their legacy, but not their lessons. Because the world that forged them no longer exists for you, at least not until you were dropped into it. You see, the problem isn't just that you got soft. It's that you started to believe softness was the goal. That life should always be safe. That fear is toxic. That pain is avoidable. That discomfort means something's wrong. But out here, where every second is survival, you finally get it. Discomfort is data. Fear is feedback. Pain is the proof that you're still in the fight. The reason you're suffering now isn't because you're weak. It's because you were never taught to be dangerous. You weren't taught how to sharpen your edge, how to build endurance, how to read the world, instead of scrolling through it. And now, surrounded by people who had to become warriors or die, you start to feel it again. That old fire deep in your gut. Not the warmth of comfort, but the burn of something ancient awakening. Evolution built you soft the final hour, and the final verdict the sun begins to rise. But it's not peaceful. It's a judgment. Because now, after 24 hours in the Stone Age, you know why most modern humans wouldn't last. Not even a single day. It's not just the predators, not just the hunger, not just the cold, the fear, or the physical exhaustion. It's the mental collapse, the emotional fragility, the lack of purpose, direction, preparation. The truth is, you were never meant to do this alone, but you were also never taught how to carry the weight of your own survival. Your ancestors, they had each other, but more than that, they had urgency. Every sunrise was a test. Every moment was a decision. Hesitate and you die. They were forged through necessity. You were dulled by convenience. They looked at danger and moved toward it. You were trained to avoid even discomfort. But now, something's shifted. You're not the same person who woke up in the dirt yesterday. Your hands are cut, your lips are cracked, your body is broken. But your mind, it's awake, and you finally feel it. The ancient rhythm, the pulse of survival, the realness of life without filters, without edits, without applause. It doesn't care about your resume. It doesn't care about your follower count. It doesn't even care if you cry. It only asks one thing. Will you rise, adapt, and fight? Or will you fold, quit, and vanish? Because in this world, no one remembers the soft. The fire still burns beside you, not because you lit it, but because they did. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow, you'll be the one who keeps it going. You're still here, but barely. And the verdict? You wouldn't survive 24 hours as a caveman, not without help, not without pain, not without awakening a version of yourself that the modern world made you forget. But now you've seen it. Now you've felt it. And if you're willing to chase that feeling, maybe you don't need the Stone Age to become dangerous again.